we're going to put on some lipstick. I mean, since when do I wear lipstick? I know, we're getting fancy, but actually I'm using this as a mirror. I mean, you can't even tell that I'm wearing lipstick, which is awful. Hello! I forgot to start the video. Hello, everyone. Let's put this up here. Welcome to... Oh, that's gonna fall. It fell anyways. This is chaos. Welcome to my channel. My name is Cheryl. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're new here, hello, welcome. If you're returning here, welcome back. Do you like the background? I mean, it's a little bit better than just a blank wall. I still have quite a big of a mess. I've got bags over there, yarn. I mean, at least I've got some books behind me. That's a start, right? That's a start. We need my coffee. Okay. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing good. I am enjoying living where I'm living. I had to deal with some hand problems. As you can tell, I'm wearing compression gloves. They work very well. Yesterday, I took them off for a reason. Let me get comfortable. Yesterday, I took them off because, you know, you need to take them off for a couple hours a day. And my thumb was so skinny. Like, I don't think I've seen it look that healthy in, like, years. My fingers are always swollen. So it was a really nice thing to see that my fingers weren't like hot to touch. They weren't swollen. It was really nice. I still have pain. I have gotten a stronger dose of painkillers, so that's been helping. We're hoping. This definitely works. I never thought compression gloves would work, but it really does work. So just an FYI. Today we're not here for health news. We're not. We're here for bookish content. First of all, I'm going to be drinking my cold coffee a lot. It's not ice because I don't have any ice. But I think I'm coming down to the cold, which is not good because I feel like I've got some lipstick on. But okay, anyways, a squirrel. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying. Yeah. Oh, I feel like I'm getting a cold, which is not good because, oh, my leg hurts because, I'm sitting on my floor. It is not comfy. I don't know how you girlies do it. Okay. As I was trying to say, again, I think I'm coming down with a cold, which is not good because I get a cold every winter, and this winter I haven't gotten one, so I was kind of hoping maybe I wouldn't get one this year. It might be allergies too, so we will see. But my eyes are itchy, so that kind of makes me think it's allergies, but we will see. So I will be taking a lot of drinks of coffee. This is just instant coffee in cold water because I like it. Okay, so I've got this book journal. I mean, you can't really, it's kind of, alright, well, anyways, I got it from Walmart. It's very cute. I have some of the readathons I'm taking part in listed. These are just lists. They're lined pages, so it's just lists. I'm a list girl. I like lists. So today we're going to talk about my 24 favorite books of 2024. Now, I know I'm late on this. I realize that. But I've had problems lately, and I am just getting settled into my new house. I got new lighting, I got new lamps, I'm very excited for that. I mean, you can't really tell here, but it's better than it was, okay? And, I got, my hands, everything's been, so we're gonna do it now, is what I'm saying. So here are my favorite books of 2024. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, something to drink or eat, and maybe a crochet or knitting project, or sewing project, or cross stitch, or any crafty project, or maybe clean your house. I don't care. Let's just do something. Even if you just watch me. I don't know why you'd want to watch me. This is not watchable. But anyways, okay, let's get started. I'm looking at my book. Honorable mentions. I read the first 7 books of the Throne of Glass series. Listen, What is that saying? We listen and we don't judge. I love it. Sarah J. Maas has gotten her hold on me. I never thought she would. And I'm loving it. The spicy scenes I could do without, but I'm still enjoying them. I'm just skimming over those scenes, basically. You know, here's a tangent. The one thing, I mean, there's lots of things I learned in school that I still use. I don't, you know, people say school's useless. I don't agree. I learned a lot from school. One thing that I still use to this day that I remember the day I learned it, and it was context clues. And I remember my grade 5 teacher, and I'm sure I learned it before then, but it was my grade 5 teacher that hammered it in. And she taught me how to read context clues and look for context clues. Best thing I ever learned. So, when I read the spicy scenes, I just look for context clues of the plot and not the spice. Or the emotional part of the spice and not the physical part. That kind of icks me out. Not that I have anything against sex, I don't like reading about it. Okay, so the Throne of Glass series. I'm enjoying it. I'm still reading the last book, Kingdom of Ash. I've been reading it forever. I've never been the kind of girl, okay, my tag is showing. I've never been the kind of girl who, I have this on backwards. I mean, I don't think it's backwards because the other side has a seam going down, so I like to wear backwards. Anyways, okay, that's beyond the point. Throne of Glass, that's what we were talking about, right? If you're new here, hello. I ramble off about things that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Okay. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Throne of Glass. Okay, so I am not the kind of girly who just doesn't want to finish a TV show or a book series because they know it's ending. You know, like how people watch TV shows until the last episode and then they just don't watch the last episode? I don't do that. I'm totally doing that with Throne of Glass. I just can't finish the Throne of Glass series. I have the whole series. It's up there, but I have the whole series. I can reread them. But would you guys be interested in a Throne of Glass reading vlog? I feel like there's so many of them out there that, I don't know, would you be interested in that? Let me know. It would be spoiler filled. But I'm willing to reread them and do a thorough vlog on them because I have thoughts. Anyways, so honorable mentions, the first 7 books of Throne of Glass. I don't know which is my favorite. I mean, Assassin's Blade, the prequel, is the one that got me started on Sarah J. Maas, so that's kind of my favorite. But anyways, and then my second honorable mention is it right here? Hang on, let me find it. I'm moving my camera a lot, sorry. This book, it is, hang on. Okay, it is, I know I mentioned this before, up on that, nope, wrong book. This is book 1 of the series. Book 3 of my friend Jessica Breimer. She published her 3rd book last year, Up on the Housetop, the Bookshop. Nope, always get that wrong. Up on the Bookshop, The Body Fell. Honestly, I know I mentioned this before, but if you could say this title and not sing the song, Up on the Housetop, Up on the Bookshop, The Body, I mean, I'm always, Jess, what are you doing to me? But anyways, this is a cozy mystery, and I love this series. Her writing is so good. Her characters well fleshed out. It's got cats. I mean, it's set in a bookshop. It's got a cute romance that is not spicy, but very angsty, and I love it. I love it. So, I might be biased because she is my friend, but I love that series. So that's my other honorable mention, which I would have put up on the bookshelf. The Body Fell on my top 20, but I had too many. So I read 110 books last year, I think. Not top 20, top 24. So here we go. Top 24 books of 2024. They are not in any specific order. We've been talking for 10 minutes already, and haven't even started. It's not in a specific order, except for the top 5. They are my top 5 last year, in order. So number 24, we have Foxglove by Adeline Grace. I will put the picture up here. Adeline Grace has written Foxglove is the second book in the Belladonna series. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to go through all the synopses of them because, frankly, my legs are cramping up and I need to do this. So I'm not going to go through all the synopses, but yeah, I loved it. All of these were 4 or 5 stars. Most of them, I think, are 5 stars. Number 23, Just Once by Karen Kingsbury. This was a Christian fiction. I'll give you the genre and maybe a one-sentence review. So, Foxglove by Adeline Grace is a gothic historical mystery blend genre. And it involves a girl named Signa, I believe her name is. And in the first book, Belladonna, it's a continuation, but different characters, but it involves the same plot line, but different characters. Anyways, the first book, Belladonna, follows a girl who, can I do this in one sentence? No, probably not. I don't know how people do that. We're going to try. A young 18-year-old, something like that, goes to a relative and place to live after all her caretakers that she lived with died mysteriously, and there's a mystery. Her cousin's daughter, I believe, is sick, and she has to solve the murder of that girl's mother. It's a whole bunch of things. She also falls in love with Death. Yes, Death himself. So, it's a cute book. It's the second book, Foxglove, had a bit of spice in it. Not a lot, but a little bit. Just Once by Karen Kingsbury is a Christian fiction, a World War II Christian fiction. It was beautiful. I read a lot of Karen Kingsbury's books, and I love them. They are so good. She was probably one of the first Christian fiction authors I ever read. Not the first, but very close to the first. And I used to own a lot of her books, but not anymore. But Just Once is a World War II novel about, in present day, it's a 2 timelines. In present day, we have a woman who is going through, no, there's 3 timelines, I believe. One timeline is the granddaughter of a woman. Maybe it's the same timeline. I'm not sure. The granddaughter of an older woman who is going to an award ceremony for some women spies who are finally for the British or not for the Nazis. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're called. What are we called? Not the Allies. Whatever. She was a spy, and she and a bunch of women were finally getting recognized. This is true. This is what really happened in real life. There was an award ceremony in 2000-something, 1990, something like that, where women were recognized for their work in World War II, which I read this part, and I looked it up, and it is true, and it was I read a beautiful article about it. If I can find it, I'll link it below, but I did read an article about it, and it was amazing how many, okay, I'm not going to get into that, but anyways, I don't want to get political on this channel. This is not the channel to be political, but women getting recognized for working in the war is something I'm very passionate about. I have read a lot of books about that, and I'm loving how many books are coming out these days about women who did amazing, brave things in World War II that never got recognized. Anyways, so this book is about a woman and her grandma is getting recognized, and then it's about her grandma having Alzheimer's, and her husband is reminding her about things in her life, and things come out, and it's beautiful. It's a Christian fiction. I wouldn't say it's too, like, quote-unquote preachy, if you can call it that, but it does have talks about God and about Christianity and stuff, so if you're not into that, I understand. If you're curious, I would recommend it. It is a very good book. Karen Kingsbury is a great Christian fiction author. She writes hard-hitting, emotional books with a bit of romance, and I love them. That was not one sentence. This is going to be a long video. Sit back. Okay. Number 22. Oh my gosh, we're only on 22. This is a cozy mystery, Cheddar Off Dead by Karina Moss. This is the first book in the, I think it's Cheese Shop mystery. I'm not sure. I loved this book. I just realized that I knocked over my glass of coffee. Yeah, wonderful. I just realized that. How long ago did I do that? Did you see it happen? Why didn't you tell me? Okay, well, we've got to wash that. Hang on. We gotta pause this for a sec. I swear, you guys should have told me. Okay. I just wiped it up with my pajama pants. They need washing anyways. Okay, so the good thing is I have a green carpet and it's quite dark, so it's okay. It's okay. All right, Cheddar Off Dead. That's what we were talking about. This is a cozy mystery about a girl. I believe her name is Wilma, but don't count on that. And she has a cheese shop, and she solves murders, and it's a wonderful cozy mystery series. Very funny. I love the characters. There's one character named Archie who I just love. He's like a young, I think, I call him young, but I mean, he's probably 18, 19, 20. He's an adult, but I call him young because to me, 25-year-olds are young, you know? Okay, anyways, I loved him. There is a romance. There's also a, I've read so many cozy mysteries. I believe this is the right series. Don't come at me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's also a friendship between a man and a woman that I love. I love platonic friendships between men and women. I love that. When I first read it, I thought it was going to turn into romance. It didn't. They stayed like best friends, and I love that. I have now read 3 books in the series, I think, and I have more. Those are my library books, by the way, the ones that are turned out. And I do have Karina Moss's, some of her other books on there, so I will be reading more. But I am loving that series. 5 stars. The humor was great. The mystery was great. Wonderful. Okay, and you'll want cheese when you read it. Believe me, have cheese on standby. Okay, number 21, My Imaginary Mary. This is by 3 authors. Cynthia Hand, let's see if I can remember. Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Did I get it right? I got it right. I never get all 3 of those names right. I almost knocked over my coffee again. This was probably a bad idea. Are you still here? You're a true one if you're still here. My Imaginary Mary is the 3rd? Hang on. The second in the Mary series, I believe. Yeah, the second. It is about Mary Shelley. Okay, first of all, this series, it started off, the authors are known as the Lady Janies. They wrote the Lady Janies series, which was a trilogy. I was going to say a trilogy of 3 books. That's literally what trilogy means. But anyways, 3 books about famous Janes in history, and they kind of took history and turned it into a fantasy world, and it's hilarious. The audiobooks are so good, so good. I recommend the audiobooks. They are hilarious. They're fun. You don't take them seriously, and yet they always pack a punch. So My Imaginary Mary was the second series, which is about famous Marys. And My Imaginary Mary involved Mary Shelley, who wrote, of course, Frankenstein, and Ava Lovelace, who is Lord Byron's daughter. Is that right? I think. And it's about their friendship and how they basically invent the first Android. And I loved it. Not Android as in phone. I mean Android as in, what are they called? They're not called androids anymore. My apologies. Like a robot. Cyborgs? I don't know. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but she creates a man, basically. And there's a mystery, and it's hilarious. It is so good. Recommend it. I recommend all these books. I did think that maybe there would be a female-female relationship between the two main characters. Just so you know, there is not a female-female relationship in the book, in case you're wondering. Not that I really have anything against that. It's just it's not what I wanted to read. Personally, I wasn't expecting that. So when I first started reading, I thought, oh, is this what's happening? I would have still read it anyways, but it didn't happen. So just so you know, in case you are someone who prefers not to read female-female relationships, because, I'm straight. I prefer to read straight romances just because that's what I am, Anyways, like I said, I would have read it anyways because it was hilarious. There was one book of theirs that did have a female-female relationship. Which one was it? Was it the first Mary book, My Contrary Mary? I think it was that one, and I still enjoyed it. Yeah, okay, anyways. Gone with the Witch by Angela M. Sanders is number 20. Listen, I love witchy cozies, okay? I don't know why. I love reading about witches. And I think the reason is because, as I said, I'm a born-again Christian. I don't agree with, witchery. Witchery, is that a word? I don't agree with, what am I trying to say? The, demonic side of witchery. Of, things like that. I don't agree with that. I don't like reading about that. I do, however, like reading about women who take up their own lives and find out who they are through learning that they're magical and that they are a witch. And I am fascinated about the Salem witches trials and about things like that in history, and how women who were thought to be different and most likely neurodivergent, that's my belief, were treated as witches and killed and ostracized. And being neurodivergent myself, as well as having Tourette syndrome, if you don't know, I have Tourette, and being told before by numerous people in my life, people that I respect and love, have outright told me that I am possessed by the devil. I enjoy reading about women who have gone through that kind of thing and have found their purpose in life, have found that they love themselves no matter what, because that's what I've had to do. And I realized that witchy cozies are not particularly like that. The thing I like about them, though, is that there is always a sense of coming home and finding out that they are powerful even without their spells and their magic. And I love that aspect of witchy cozies. It's the same as witchy middle grade. I enjoy those because along with the magic, they find out that they are powerful themselves. And for me, that's through God. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways, that was a long tangent. Gone with the Witch by Angela M. Sanders. This is part of the, what series is it? The Witch Way Librarian series, which, no pun intended, which is about a woman who comes to a hometown to look after a library in this old kind of mansion house, which I love. Like, that would be amazing. And she becomes a librarian there, and then she finds out she's a witch. And I love that series. It is funny. It is a good mystery, and I love it. So that is, and there's a murder, of course, and there's a romance, and there's a little baby in it. The guy that she has a romance with has a baby, and I love that. Single dads, you know? Can you just send me a single dad? Sorry. Don't do that. But, okay. Number 19 is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the letters, I forget what the series is. The first book is Divine Rivals. Ruthless Vows got bad reviews. Not bad reviews, but a lot of people didn't like it. Sorry. I mean, I've gone this long without taking a drink. You should be proud of me. A lot of people didn't like Ruthless Vows. I particularly thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful. So, it is very plot-based. Whereas I feel like the first book focused on the characters and on the romance and on the magical typewriter, which, if you don't know, Divine Rivals is about a woman, I forget her name, and she works at a newspaper in a different kind of, in a historical world, kind of based on World War I time period, and there's a war going on, but it's between gods, and again, no comment. I don't believe in multiple gods. There was only one god, but it was still fun to read, and that's a whole nother debate. But it's between two gods, and this girl, I forget her name, works at a newspaper, and her quote rival, who's going up for the same position as she is in the newspaper, they kind of have a rivalry relationship, and she starts writing to her brother on this typewriter. Her brother's in the war, and she puts it in a wardrobe or cupboard or closet, whatever you want to call it. And suddenly he writes back. He sent magically, a letter appears and it's written back. And so ends up, I mean, it said right in the beginning that it is actually Roman who is her, is her name Juliet? I don't remember, but his name is Roman, I believe. And, what was I saying? Oh, so he knows that it's her that he's writing to, but he doesn't know how it's happening, and it's all about their love story. The second book, Ruthless Vows, is more about the war than the romance, but I really enjoyed it. I am more of a character-driven reader, but I still felt it was well done as far as the characters. I felt they were very real. I felt that their trauma, there is a trope that a lot of people don't like that's in this book. I'm not going to say what it is because it is a spoiler for the end of, well, for Ruthless Vows, but also for the end of Divine Rivals. But there is a trope that a lot of people don't like. I don't mind it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was well done, and I enjoyed it. There are a few spicy scenes in this book, so just so you know. Number 18 is All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the third book, I believe, of The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, obviously. It's tagged as Criminal Minds, but with teenagers, and it's a lovely series. It gets kind of dark in the fourth book, but the third book was my favorite. I did read the third, fourth, and the novella this year, or last year. I really enjoyed it. So this follows, I believe her name is Scarlett, something like that. She, I could be totally wrong on that, I don't remember, but her mom had died a few years before, and she gets asked to join this elite program for teenagers and with the FBI in helping to solve cold cases, because each of the team members, the teenagers, have a special ability, but not like a supernatural ability, but just they do really well with certain things. Like for one is being able to tell when someone's lying, so she's like the human lie detector. And another one is someone who can profile. I think the main character is a profiler, so she can figure things out just by things that they say and do. And so there's 5 of them in the friendship in the group, and the whole series is wonderful. The last book got a little dark. It is continued on. You have to read it from first to fourth. The 5th book, which is a novella, you do not have to read it. It takes place like 10 years after the series concludes, but I would recommend reading it. I thought it was fun. The 5th book is called 12. It was kind of neat to get back to the characters and see what they're doing 10 years later. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Like I said, the 4th book got a little dark, but I still really enjoyed it. Okay. Number 17, A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is a middle grade. I've got all genres and age groups here. A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is the first book in the A Pinch of Magic series. I don't remember what it's called. It's the trilogy, and I read all 3 books of it last year. Pinch of Magic was my favorite. It is about the Win something. Sisters who are 3 sisters, and they live with their grandma. Their dad is in jail. Their mom is missing or dead, or I think she's dead. And they live on this little island, this fictional island. They live on this island, and they are unable to leave their, for some reason I thought I wasn't recording for a minute there. They are unable to leave their island because any woman in their family line who left the island has died. And, they set out to break the curse, and it's a fun series. I didn't like the 3rd book as much as I liked the 1st and the 2nd, but the 1st was my favorite. I loved it. It was a cute middle grade with magic and some emotional parts. I did not like the fact that the grandma they lived with owned a bar, and that the kids like worked at the bar sometimes. I found kind of icky about that, but anyways. And then I read number 16 of my favorites, 24 books favorites of 2024 is Anatomy, a Love Story by Gina Schwartz. This is a paranormal, historical, gothic kind of book. So this follows a young girl, again, I can't remember her name, and she, again, sorry, she's 17 or 18. I believe she's 17 in the first book. And it's in the 1800s, I believe it takes place. And, she wants to be a surgeon, but girls couldn't be surgeons. So she gets told eventually that she can take the surgeon test at a medical school, but she's going to have to do her learning. She can't go to the medical school, so she's going to have to learn about surgery and stuff on her own. And so she agrees to this, and she meets Jack, and I don't know why I remember his name, but she meets him, and he is a grave robber. And so he takes bodies out of graves just after they were buried, so they're not decomposed, and sells them to the medical school for research and for training purposes. So she makes a deal with Jack to bring her bodies to learn on. That didn't sound good. You know what I mean? Medical things. Get your mind out of the gutter. Maybe it's just my mind that was in the gutter. Anyways, yeah, it's a good book. It takes kind of there's a romance between them. Takes a paranormal turn at the end that I did not expect. And, not paranormal, more like, kind of scientific, kind of paranormal, kind of. I don't know how to describe it without giving spoilers. And I did read the second book as well, but the first book was my favorite. Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. Number 15 was To Catch a Suitor by Sarah Adams. This is the second book in an older series. There's 2 books in the series so far. And it's a Regency romance series by Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams is known for primarily writing clean romance or non-spicy romance. She has put spice in her newest book and will be from now on, but her backlist has no spice. And they republished some of her older books that were originally self-published or indie published. And the first book I read, I listened to the audiobook. The first book is in this list as well, but the second book is To Catch a Suitor. And I just love this. This is a Regency romance. It is so cute. It is, the tropes include brother's best friend. And it is historical, of course. It is hilarious. I laughed out loud several times. So funny. And it's clean. There's angst. There's tension, but it's not focused on spicy, you know? So it was really good. I really liked it. I find, is this an unpopular opinion, but I find non-spicy books, if done well, are more, can I say spicy? Like, they make me happy more. I was going to say get me aroused, but not in that way. I mean, they mean more to me than spicy books. You know what I mean? Okay, never mind. I don't mean get aroused. I mean, they just, like, I fall in love with the men more when there's no spice. Okay? Just saying. That's a better way to say it. Forget I said the word aroused. And then number 14 is A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. I have listened to 7 or 8 books in that series last year. It is the Victoria Speedwell series. It follows a lepidopterist. Did I say it right? I don't know. A butterfly scientist who, in the early 1900s, I think. And there's a mystery in each book. Each book is a different mystery. Murder mystery usually. Well, every time it's a murder mystery. But there's an ongoing romance throughout the series. And an ongoing theme that if you haven't read the first book, you won't understand in, like, the 5th book. So I recommend reading it all in order. I really enjoyed it. I love that series. It's really good. There is a bit of spice after the 3rd book, I believe, in the series. But it is a slow burn as far as, you know, they didn't get together right away, which is just really nice. And I love the series. It's really good. It is a mystery series with romance, and I loved it. I think it's a great series. So that is the first book in the series, A Curious Beginning. I put that one down because it's what got me into the series, and I just really loved it. Number 13 is Needed to Death by Winnie Archer. I am going to sneeze. Let's hope I don't sneeze. I apologize for your eardrums if I do. Needed to Death is the first book in the Bread Shop Mysteries. I listened to the audiobook. I thought it was wonderful. Again, it follows a lady who comes back to her hometown, and she just falls in love with this town and with this bread shop that her mom used to go to a lot. Her mom has since passed away. And she connects with the owners there who knew her as a kid, and there's murders and a romance. And it's a cozy mystery. I loved it. That is the first book in the series. I've listened to 3 audiobooks of that series so far. Next, number 12. This is controversial because a lot of people didn't like this book. I thought it was great. It is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I really enjoyed it. Ashley Poston writes romance with a bit of spice. There is a couple scenes of a little more than mild spice. I love her books for the magical realism, because she does put magical realism in her books, at least in her adult series. She has written some young adult books that don't have spice and magical realism, but these ones do. And this follows a woman who drives to go to a book retreat type thing, but none of her friends can make it that year, so she goes alone. She's just had a breakup, she's depressed, and her car breaks down in this little town, and she soon realizes that the little town is actually a fictional town of her favorite book series. So she's literally gone into her favorite book series. I think most people did not like the ending to the book. I thought it was good. There is one part, which I've seen a lot of reviews of people who did not like this, and I understand totally. There is one part that seems a bit out of character, out of the scene. It kind of turns from like one part of the scene, and then suddenly that person just changes totally and says something else. And I think a lot of people didn't like that because it forced a different decision being made. Personally, I understood it. That's all I'm going to say. I have personal experience with the same kind of feeling of going with what is familiar. Let's just say it that way. And I thought it was realistic. So, because I've experienced that. Not that particular situation, but that same kind of feeling of needing to be in what is familiar. Number 11, we're getting down there. Number 11 is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Van Pelt. This is a book. When I first heard about it, I thought, there's no way I'm going to like it. This is more of a literary fiction. It follows part of the POVs, point of views, there's like, I think 3 point of views in the series, in the book, and one of the POVs is of a giant octopus. Stay with that for a minute. I'll wait. Yeah, an octopus. I said that. But I loved him. His name is Marcellus, and I love that octopus. But apart from that, he doesn't talk. But in his POV, you see what he's thinking, you know. And I loved him. He was wonderful. So the book follows a woman who works at an aquarium. She is older. Her husband has passed away. All her friends are moving and dying, and she just doesn't know what to do with her life, you know. And we find out soon in the book, early on in the book, that her son had died 15 years earlier or something like that. And then we follow a young man, and he's in his 20s, I think, and he is learning who he is. He's kind of a slacker, and he comes to the town where this lady works, and he comes there to find his father, and who he thinks is his father. And the woman and the guy meet, and they form a friendship, an unlikely friendship. He starts working at the aquarium. It's all about the mystery of her son dying, and about friendship between older people and younger people, generations, and how you can learn from each side. And it was so good. Recommend it. So good. Number 10 is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. I laughed out loud so many times while reading this book. This is a contemporary book, a kind of cozy mystery, where an author goes to this like like a signing vacation thing where people have won a trip with some of their favorite authors, and she's one of these authors, and she was made famous by putting one of her ex-lovers in a book and making him as one of the main characters, and then that book series took off, and he became famous after that because everybody knew it was him. So she goes on this vacation thing in Italy, I believe, and she finds out she doesn't want him in her book anymore. She wants to kill him off, and she doesn't like him. And who is at this vacation but him? And not only that, someone's trying to kill him. And so she tries to, solve who's trying to kill him. It was hilarious. There's a lot of pop culture talk in it, current pop culture. So if you're not into that, there's social media things talking about TikTok and about things like that. So if you're not into that, you may not enjoy it, but I thought it was great. Number 9 is the only nonfiction I finished last year, and that is Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. This is a book about Jane Austen. I loved it. I thought it was really well written. Lucy Worsley has a way of writing history and making it sound like fiction, and I kept forgetting that this was real life. We don't know for sure what happened, but we feel like this is what happened, and it's based on records, so I really enjoyed it. Number 8, we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I read the whole trilogy last year, or not trilogy, the 3 books that were out. 3 books. And just trying to think. Powerful is the novella, and this is part of the Powerless series, Powerless, and this is the novella between Powerless and Reckless. I did really enjoy Reckless too, which I know people didn't like, but I really enjoyed it. And do I have Reckless on here? I don't, but I really enjoyed Reckless as well. But Powerful was my favorite. It is a novella, and if you know the ending to Powerless, Powerful is about that character. And it was emotional, it was heartbreaking, it was beautiful, there is a romance, and it's just, if you know, you know, okay? It is about that character. I loved it. I cried. I cried. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Okay. Number 7. Are we on number 7? Hang on. What number are we on? Yes, number 7 was another middle grade. This was The Chance to Fly by Ali Stroker and Stacy Davidowitz. This is, I don't know if it's Davidowitz or Davidowitz. It's spelt with a W, but I know that sometimes W's are pronounced as V, so I'm not sure. But this is a wonderful book about a young girl who is in a wheelchair. She's disabled, she's in a wheelchair, and she wants more than anything to be musicals. And she joins a group in her school, and she just moved, and she gets to know these people, and she's worried about people treating her differently because she is in a wheelchair. And she meets these wonderful friends who love her just the way she is. And she does have some bullies, but, kids will be kids. And she joins a musical. And it's one of her favorite musicals. It's Wicked, which is kind of timely for what happened this year, but with the Wicked movie. But she joins the musical, and she thinks that she can only be one character because there is a character that doesn't have any dancing parts. And things happen, and her dreams come true, and the friendships are just amazing. In this series, there is social media in the chapter, in the book, and there is pop culture in the book. Just so you know, it is a middle grade. I loved it. I cried. It's beautiful. It doesn't have, she's magically healed at the end, which I really don't like. It's very realistic about disabled people. I myself am disabled, and it's not in a wheelchair, but I am disabled, and it's the feelings we're feeling, okay? The feelings we're feeling, okay. I couldn't go on without mentioning that book. Number 6 is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli. This is called Crimson Moth in the UK. It is about a witch in a world where witches are killed, and again, witches, women becoming powerful because of their powers. I love. And this book was so good. It has a romance in it. The romance is with a man who is the prince, I think, or something like that, he's the guard for the prince. I'm not sure. And he is sent, his job is to kill all the witches. So she has to keep it secret, and they have a romance. And it was so good. I really loved it. It is, I believe there's no spice. I'm not sure. I'm excited for the second book coming out soon. Okay, the top 5. We're at 52 minutes already. My gosh. The top 5 are in order of least favorite. Okay, but they can be like interspersed because I'll probably change my mind tomorrow. Number 5, we have The Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I loved this book. I did read the second book, Map of the Netherlands, as well, and I'm looking forward to the third book. But Encyclopedia of Fairies follows a woman who is a scholar, and she studies fairies in a world where there are fairies. And she goes to this place in, is it in Iceland? I think it's in Iceland. And she goes to a secluded cabin to write about a specific, to research and write her encyclopedia about a specific species of fairies. And her kind of rival shows up at her door and says, "Hey, I'm here to help you." And I love Wendell. He is hilarious. I love him so much. And that series, it's a romance between them. It's got some fairy magic. It's got a bit of a mystery. It was really good. I loved it. It's very kind of day-to-day kind of thing, cozy fantasy, I guess you could call it. It's very day-to-day. There's not a lot of plot, but it was a really good series. I find I like cozy fantasy. Next, we have a romance. We have number 4 is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This was the first book I read of Abby Jimenez, and it hit me so hard. I went down a spiral after reading it. I'm not going to lie, it hit me really hard for certain reasons. And it wasn't even the main topic of the book that hit me. I just felt for these characters so much. And it is a romance between 2 doctors, and one of the doctors, the male doctor, has anxiety. And I have anxiety as well, so it was beautiful how the main character, the woman, I forget her name, I'm not good at remembering characters' names, but she treated him normally and loved him for who he was and helped him through it all, like didn't make it the center of, didn't make it a problem, like there's one scene where they're going out for dinner, and she sends him, I believe, a list of the menu because he gets anxiety trying to figure out the menu and where to park and stuff like that. So she sends him all the information. And so he knows before they go out where he's going to park, where he's going to sit, where the exits are, what he's going to order, things like that. And she does it so easily and doesn't make it a big deal. And I loved that. Yeah, I love that. So, there is a plot point that, like I said, was not the main plot point, but it hit me, and it was very emotional for me. I called my dad after and kind of yelled at him for something that had nothing to do with the book and nothing to do with him in particular, but I was upset. I did apologize later and told him about the book and why I was so emotional and everything's fine, but yeah. So I had to mention that one. Number 3, the top 3. Number 3 is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This book was so emotional. Again, emotional books get me, okay? So this book was about a young girl who grew up in the 70s, and her dad has just gotten back from Vietnam War, and he's suffering from PTSD. He's abusive, and he moves them to Alaska, into this small town where the harshness of winter is big. And so she's learning how to survive in Alaska, secluded, and with an abusive father and a mother who is so sure that it's just the PTSD, that he's not this person and he's going to change and just stick by him, kind of thing. It was beautiful. Very emotional. I feel like this video is ending on a sore spot, but very emotional, very good. It does have a hopeful ending. Yeah. Number 2 is another Kristen Hanna book. This one kind of competes with my number 1 as number 1. And this is The Woman by Kristen Hanna. This is the 2024 release. This was about, again, Vietnam. And it's about the woman in Vietnam. Like I said, I was very big on reading books about women finding power and in wars being important and being acknowledged for the work they've done. And this book is about a woman who joins Vietnam goes to Vietnam to be a nurse, and the horror she lived with, the whole it is very descriptive in the beginning of the things that the nurses and doctors had to deal with in any war, but in particular the Vietnam War, and the surgeries. It's very descriptive of the medical things, so just so you know, very realistic. And she goes home after her leave and is basically suffering from PTSD, and she tries to get help, but people are saying, women didn't go to war, like, you weren't in the front, so you couldn't have known trauma, that kind of thing. And she goes down a whole spiral of things and relationships and trying to deal with her PTSD and with her emotions. And it was a beautiful book. Beautiful. I cried several times. It was a wonderful book. And then we're going to end the video on a happy note. If you watched this far, give me a like. Give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And leave a comment below if any of these books sound like something you want to read, or if you've read any of these books. Oh, I should also mention I have another channel. I have an authortube channel, which I talk about my writing journey. I will link it in the description box below. So go to that channel if you want to see me in my writing journey. Number 1, my top book. 2024. We are here. We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. This was such a good book. I have not read The Thursday Murder Club, although I do have the first 2 books of that series. We Solve Murders is the first in a separate series from the Thursday Murder Club. It was so good, which I have to tell you too, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I met someone randomly at the bus stop the other day, and they are from the UK, and they used to go, their daughter used to go to school, obviously, and her teacher was Richard Osman's mom. I mean, is that weird or what? Because, like, I was talking about how I went to the library, and they said, do you know Richard Osman? I'm like, well, not personally, but I read his books, you know, like, ha ha ha. And they're like, oh, well, we knew him as a kid, because they've actually saw him as a kid, but they've never met him as an adult and as a celebrity. But anyways, that was random. But anyways, We Solve Murders is about a woman, and she is kind of a bodyguard type thing for celebrities. And her father-in-law, who she's very close to, is a retired police officer or investigator. Detective? I don't know what the terminology is, but, and they get involved in solving a murder that takes place over several countries, and it was hilarious. It was so good. I think what I liked the most about it, again, the relationships, is the relationship between the daughter-in-law and the father-in-law. I just loved that so much. The characters were hilarious. The mystery was impactful and intriguing. Loved it. Like I said, it was so funny. I laughed out loud so many times during that book. It was such a good book. And yeah, so that's it. That's my favorite book. That or The Woman by Christian Anna. I'm not sure which one. Or The Great Alone. I mean, I don't know for sure. But anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching. I have to go and edit this video now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for all the support in my channel. Have a great day. Happy reading. God bless. Bye.